have a lot of bodyguards and a lot of cops that are in the form of alligators. You don't have to pay them so much. But I wouldn't want to run through the Everglades for long. It might be as good as the real Alcatraz site. You know, it could be. Well, that's a spooky one too, isn't it? Huh? That's a tough site.
With the Alligator Alcatraz, is the idea that if some illegal immigrant escapes, they just get eaten by an alligator or a snake or something?
I guess that's the concept. This is not a nice business. I guess that's the concept. If snakes are fast, but alligators are, but we're going to teach them how to run away from an alligator, okay? If they escape prison, how to run away. Don't run in a straight line. Run like this. And you know what? Your chances go up about 1%.
Good evening and welcome to Tyler Carlin Tonight. Something that people have been asking ever since Trump started his second term, actually, because of his behavior and the behavior of his supporters and his enablers, are what makes them so cruel. It's one thing to want to win politically, it's one thing to want to dominate, and it's another thing entirely to want to take over democracy itself and rule in an untroubled way. But what makes MAGA so cruel? Why is cruelty that is something that is almost enjoyed by every one of them? There seems to be widespread evidence of that happening, and so people are asking that question. And that's why tonight I'm setting the record straight. Cruelty isn't a bug, it's the operating system. MAGA feeds on pain the way ticks feed on blood. The more you scream, the sweeter the meal. So let's start with the question no one on corporate TV will touch. Why do Trump's diehards cackle when ICE hauls a grandmother into Alligator Alcatraz, Florida's brand new swamp gulag? Because cruelty is the coin of the realm. It proves dominance. It reassures men who feel dethroned that they can still crush something weaker. They're replacing our culture, our values, and they're laughing while they do it. They think you're stupid. Yes, they really do. And they hate you because they hate themselves. They hate your family, they hate your traditions, and they want to replace you with a frightened, obedient consumer unit that says, "Thank you for the scraps." And now you can thank fear for lighting the fuse. Fear activates the authoritarian gene buried in every petty bully. And Trump knows this better than any psychology PhD holder. That's why he launched both campaigns screaming about brown rapists stampeding across the border, stoke fear, hierarchy craving, and promise order, your order, then watch tens of millions slip into the leash of conscience. But here's the real question. Do they worry about poverty? Do they care about health care? Not really. Studies show MAGA counties aren't uniformly poorer. They're chronically resentful. Their drug isn't cash, it's status. And when women, immigrants, LGBTQ Americans, or heaven forbid, black voters gain a seat at the table, the MAGA core base feels robbed because enter Trump offering payback instead of policy. Make America great again really means make us dominant again. I am your retribution, I am your payback. Isn't that what he said last year when he was campaigning? There you go. That's signaling something to the MAGA base. He's gonna get revenge on anyone who wronged him and wronged you. And that's why they cheer on executive orders designed solely to hurt people, not to fix infrastructure, not to raise wages, but to hurt people, rip babies away from parents, ban trans kids from bathrooms, and bulldoze reproductive rights. It's the dopamine rush of someone else's misery. And if Joe Biden's DOJ indicts Trump, even better, victim in chief becomes martyr in chief, and the resentment cycle reloads. Look at Stephen Miller, poster ghoul for this bile economy. CNN analysts mutter about his policy rigor, but insiders know his superpower isn't IQ, it's venom. Former GOP operatives recall Miller in Jeff Sessions' office bragging about how pet border children would send a message. That's the hallmark. The louder the child's cry, the bigger the grin. Now ask, why is Kristi Noem trending at number 1 on X whenever ICE live streams a 3 a.m. raid? Because cruelty sells, and Noem is the carnival barker. She baits the public with tough-on-crime pageantry while deflecting from the unchecked abuses under her Rolex watch. She struts into press briefings in slutty dresses, slathered in heavy makeup and lip filler like she's walking through a red carpet, not running a federal department. I'm not making this up, by the way. It's true. Look at all her pictures. And the comment about the slutty dresses? My MAGA friend who's sick and tired of the fucking bullshit that's going on, he said that, not me. So that's why I use it right here. Because it's true. It is absolutely grotesque and it's deliberate. She is selling aestheticized authoritarianism with a sugar-coated, strong woman cosplay meant to distract you from the cold machinery of state-sponsored terrorism. That's what she's doing. She doesn't talk about due process anymore. She posts glamour shots while families are dragged out of their homes in the dead of night. And she feels proud. Noem praises the Alligator Alcatraz as the survival of the fittest. Of course she does, because she's gambling that her fan base will ignore the shattered families and the extrajudicial raids. The lawsuits piling up as long as she keeps screaming on about border invaders and anarchist cities. People will all fall in line for her, but the cracks are forming. Podcast titans who once treated Trump like a Viking hero are twitching. Take Joe Rogan. He's like, bro, where's the client list? Where's Epstein's client list? Tim Pool's now nervously laughing at the ICE prison drone footage. And Benny Johnson calls the Gator moat bad optics. No kidding. Andrew Schultz jokes that the camp's Yelp rating is bring your own limb. Humor masks fracture. You're not paranoid, you're just early. Watch their vault gather steam. Meanwhile, MAGA lawmakers just passed the big beautiful bill, slicing $700 billion from Medicaid, $300 billion from SNAP, and $90 billion from school meals. They think you won't notice because CNN's splashing B-roll of border chaos 24/7. They're counting on distraction. Show breadline babies and gator-bitten migrants on the same split screen and audiences short circuit. So who do you say first? The answer to that is neither, says GOP, because rescuing billionaires from paying taxes instead is clearly more important. Cruelty plus austerity equals political fentanyl. So let's examine Alligator Alcatraz. Kristi Noem diverts FEMA hurricane funds to build a barbed wire boardwalk through a mosquito-ridden swamp just outside Jacksonville. And the detainees are standing on steel platforms over water. Floodlights are glaring, bullhorns blaring, Toby Keith at 120 decibels while gators lurk below. What was his name? Yes, Abu Ghraib meets SeaWorld. Congressional Republicans take selfies with the caption, "Ooh, keeping America safe." Safe from what? Due process? If freedom of speech, if asking about this freak show gets ice at your door, move to Iran or China, same thing. And at some point you have to ask, is this even America anymore? What's happened to this country? But of course, the White House assures us that Operation Summer Heat targets only cartel foot soldiers. Lie. The DH's internal memos, leaked by an agent who since vanished from payroll, show a third of detainees are Venezuelan asylum seekers fleeing Maduro and Ukrainian mothers fleeing Putin. No convictions, no hearings, just swamp purgatory. That is, refugee treaties shredded. Geneva Conventions are now laughed at. That's replacement for you. Replacement, swapping constitutional rights for primal spectacle. That's what they did. They mocked us for warning about fascist creep. Relax, slippery slopes are conspiracy theory. 2 years later, we have mass raids, swamp camps, and secret watch lists, and that are still sealing the Epstein files. Who's paranoid now? Asked why Pam Bondi hasn't released the roster. Oh, Carlin, leave it now. She's reciting ongoing investigation, can't comment. Into who? She can't say, because the list implicates donors in both parties. Secrecy is bipartisan, and cruelty is bipartisan, by the way. And the lie is bipartisan. And pay close attention to Dan Bongino, by the way. He built a podcast empire screaming about FBI corruption and then got trapped as deputy director. Then rage quit after a day. Bondi blocked the list. The temper tantrum tells you everything. Even inside the fortress, loyal soldiers hit the electric fence of truth. They can't square drain the swamp with protect the client book, so they melt down. Axios' his headline proves it. FBI director takes day off after clash with Epstein files. And when your own attack dog whimpers, the scam has sprung a leak, and it has failed. Yet mainstream anchors pretend that none of this matters. They host 8-person panels on Biden's polling numbers and his age instead of Trump's swamp gulag because corporate media fears losing access, afraid that Bondi will pull their White House press badge if they ask about Alligator Alcatraz. Access journalism is complicit journalism. That's what it is. So it falls on us, the unfiltered, demonetized, demonized by both parties, to shine the floodlights. We file FOIAs, chase the whistleblowers, and air drone footage, and then big tech whacks us with border violence policy violations. They want this channel squashed. They want buried underneath algorithmic promoted AI sludge so that only state-approved propaganda voices remain. Prove them powerless. Smash the subscribe button, ring the bell, and share this monologue like a subpoena. Because I tell you what, here's the mercenary math. If 1 million people see the Gator camp footage, congressional phones melt. And if 10 million see it, swing district repos bolt from the Cruelty caucus. Even Tucker Carlson's old audience understands horror when it's high definition. And ask Andrew Tate fans, do you really want your alpha male kingdom to be built on baby-snatching gator pits? If the answer is yes, congratulations, you've traded masculinity for sadism. Most will flinch because deep down humans recoil at torture performed in their name. They hate you because they hate themselves. And cruelty is the point, and it's how they mask the self-loathing. The only antidote to this is unapologetic exposure. Batteries of light until the veneer peels and the rot sticks. And when they threaten to replace you, laugh at them. They can't replace what refuses to disappear. And so we'll keep asking the question, where is the list? Why the gulag? Who profits? Until those questions get answers or those responsible get subpoenas. And we'll keep asking until those questions get answers or those responsible get subpoenas. That's the deal. They chose war on truth and we choose total war back. They want this channel squashed, demonetized, and buried under the algorithmic sludge again so that only state-approved propaganda remains. They'd yank it off tomorrow if they could. So help me prove them wrong. Smash subscribe, ring the bell, and share this rank like bail money for the truth. One voice is target practice. 1 million voices is artillery. The truth is, they want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. It's very simple. I am not going to let it happen. And they want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. And in the end, they're not after me, they're after you. And I just happen to be standing in their way. And it's my honor to do so. So thank you. I'm Tyler Carlin, and if that makes them sweat, good. Means we're right over the target. See you in the next one.